terms of the Huduma centers. We were informed that we are going to get more Huduma centers, and actually the clarion call was that the Huduma centers would be devolved to an extent that we would have every Kenyan down in the remote areas being able to access a Huduma center without having to travel for long distances, Madam Speaker. As the committee tackles this issue, Madam Speaker, I would also want to request that if they can get information on the plans of devolving Huduma centers, Madam Speaker. I come from Bobasi constituency in Kisii County. It is a very, very huge constituency, Madam Speaker, with 8 wards. And we have Kenyans from as far as Nyacheki ward who cannot or do not have the capacity to access the Huduma center on the other side of town, Madam Speaker. So it would be imperative that we are informed, if at all there are any plans to devolve and make sure that Huduma centers go down to at least having one Huduma center on each ward, then so that we can be able to know that all Kenyans are getting the services that they require from Huduma centers. Madam Speaker, I would also want to request that the committee looks into how they can collaborate with NYS as a human resource capacity to partner with Huduma centers, Madam Speaker. We have a lot of youth who are under NYS. They have been trained on various capacity, and I think that there is an opportunity there for them to being able to assist in some of the duties that we have in Huduma Center, Madam Speaker. As I speak, as I said, I'm from Bobasi constituency, and we have many youths that have been recruited from my constituency, and they would really serve in great capacity in these Huduma centers if we were able to make sure that we bring it down to the ward level. I therefore support the statement on the deployment of policy and staff serving at Huduma centers by the Senator for Bungoma, Senator Wakoli. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Eddie Okechi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise actually to support a very, very important statement by my brother, Senator Cherargei Samson of Nandi, you know, on the distribution of subsidized fertilizers to farmers in North Rift and other parts of the country. And it's very important that my brother has put that other parts of the country, because I don't think that this is a problem that is only in North Rift and the entire country is suffering, Madam Speaker. If you remember last year, Madam Speaker, one of the reasons why the government really suffered last year was because of drought. And that drought also meant that the economy was impacted because we're not very sure about the harvest that we'll have last year. And the issue of subsidized fertilizer, Madam Speaker, is an issue that came very prominently at the beginning of last year. And Madam Speaker, I dare say that because we had some rain last year, Madam Speaker, we reached to a point whereby that, the fact that drought went a little bit low last year, and the fact that the money market opened a little bit, the economy was able to regain some sense of normalcy. But Madam Speaker, where we are going right now, where it is so late in the year in terms of planting season, and farmers have not received this subsidized fertilizer, Madam Speaker. I was in Narok 2 weeks ago, when I think about 3 weeks ago, we were together with the minority deputy whip, as well as the minority whip, Madam Speaker. And the people in Narok were really crying that they are getting fertilizer, Madam Speaker. I'll quote this. They are saying they are getting fertilizer kama machozi. Ni kidogo sana. So, Madam Speaker, this is an issue that if it's not addressed, it has got a serious effect in the economy, because it could actually take the economy back to where we were last year. If you don't get subsidies on time, and if you don't get this fertilizer on time, Madam Speaker, a place like Migori, where I come from, farmers have never seen anything like this, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I think that this issue is not only about getting this subsidized fertilizer. We must go to the core of business. And the core of business, Madam Speaker, is the people who are supplying this fertilizer. we need to know what are the ship lines for this fertilizer, Madam Speaker, that are supplying, that were given this contract to bring in the country. Which are these companies, Madam Speaker, given the tenders to be able to bring this fertilizer? And they must explain to us whether they actually really understood the scope of the farmers they need to supply. How many farmers were being targeted by this shipment? And if you don't know the number of